I'm Geert Van Schlänger. How's it slanging? Now I understand that you want to learn how to make the 90s porno musics? Well, you've come to the right place again, my friends. Unfortunately, my time machine broke down, so I had to live through the 70s and the 80s and then get to the 90s. And things got a little bit bad in the late 80s. Developed a bit of a habit. My wife left me. So did my other wife, my girlfriend. And I was all alone, apart from my boyfriend. But anyway, let's get started. So it's the 90s, and we're gonna need a Schample. And I'm actually gonna sample one of my own records, Trouscher Arouscher, which was Holland's entry to Eurovision in 1974. I actually finished runner-up to my nemesis, Geert Van Schlänger, with Oompie Roompie, Let's Get Poompie.
1, 2, 3, super!
What a Knut. But anyway, let's listen to the track. So there we go, far sexier than Oompie Roompie Let's Get Pumpy, if you ask me, but I'm not bitter about that anymore. So anyway, we're gonna bring the sample in, and the first thing we're gonna do is slow things down, because you don't want to go too fast, if you know what I'm saying. So we're gonna make sure we got the tape algorithm so that the pitch comes down when we change the tempo down, and this is what the sample sounds like now. So if we look in Pubase, you can see that I've taken out the bottom end with a high pass, because we're gonna redo the bass end a little later. I've also added the Abbey Road vinyls to make it sound like it's an old record. Obviously it is an old record, I recorded it in 1974, but we want to make it sound a little bit more shampley. Very sexy. So the first thing we need is a sexy beat to bring things up to the 90s. So I'm going to use Alicia's HR16, which came out in the late 80s, but started being used in the sexy grooves of the 90s. We're just going to get this rolling groove with a bit of a shuffle with kick, snare, hats, clap. And we're going to put some scratching effects in there as well, because it's the 90s after all. But if you find yourself with persistent scratching, you might want to see a doctor. So for the bass, we're going to use the Roland 1-on-1, and I've got this sexy wumpy bass sound. So it's a very simple sound. We start with the sub. I like the sub, sometimes I prefer the dom. And then we add the shawtooth, which is an octave higher, make sexy music. We're gonna close the filter. Add some resonance. Not too much, you don't want to self-oscillate. Or maybe you do. I'm not here to judge. Okay, little bit of a resonance. And then we're going to use the filter envelope to open it, so we want to delay the attack time. have a little bit of decay. And a low sustain, so we get that whoa kind of thing. And then you can play with the envelope amount on the filter to emphasize it more or less. And find the point where it's kind of womping along. Maybe a bit more. Then we've got a little bit of vibrato from the LFO. So for the lead sound, we're gonna do a kind of a G-funk lead. And we're gonna use the one-on-one again, because keep things simple. So we've come right up into the highest register on the oscillator and on the keyboard transpose, and we're right up here. So very high, up where the birds are tweetings. And all it is we've got the sawtooth, blended in a little bit of the sub. Not too much, we want more of the high note. Then filtered it down, we want to remove some of the harmonics, make it more of a kind of a pure tone, a bit like a triangle wave, sine wave, as close as you can get. And then we've got some portamento for the slides. So to set the scene, it's the 90s, the sexy ladies and the sexy gentlemen are working in the office, and someone discovers the possibility of the Millennium Bug. And they've got to find a solution, which is quite difficult when you can't use the modem and the landline at the same time. They're working very late. The gentlemen are getting a little bit hot and sweaty, undone a few buttons. The ladies are fanning themselves with the floppy disks, and somebody says, "Hey, if the world's gonna come to an end, what should we do?" And one of the ladies says, "I've got an idea." And the music goes.